COVID-19 has disrupted the school year for students of all ages and grades across the country.
The University of Washington became the nation's first large college to close its classrooms, saying it will cancel in-person classes and have students take classes and exams remotely instead.
Stanford and Harvard and many colleges and organizations, they're canceling classes or they're going to online learning, not just for a couple of weeks, but for the rest of the year.
Colleges and universities moved to remote learning through the end of the semester. Elementary, middle schools, and high school closed as well, at first temporarily.
Effective Monday, March 16th, we will close all Los Angeles Unified Public Schools for 2 weeks.
But now many will continue remote learning through the end of the school year.
The remainder of the school year will be completed in the current remote fashion, and we will hold summer school in a similar manner.
So we're going to have the schools remain closed for the rest of the year. We're going to continue the distance learning.
All New Jersey school buildings will remain closed for in-person instruction for the remainder of the 2019-2020 school year, and that all students and faculty will continue with remote learning.
A massive transition of this kind brings unique challenges at every level.
Yeah, we started from a standstill, a bit like trying to fly a plane at 30,000 feet, change the seats and wiring in the midst of a thunderstorm, running low on fuel.
The students are struggling with the social and emotional impact of this. I've seen the message, I never thought that I would miss school quite a few times. Because schools are more than just the academics, right? And they're getting the academic part and they're missing all the other things. And I miss it too.
Standardized tests have been canceled. Grading systems have changed, and not every school and student has the resources needed to learn online.
A lot of the state assessments have been absolutely nullified. They've been canceled. It is that type of flexibility that is so important at this point to stabilize teaching and learning conditions as we know them.
In March, as COVID-19 began to spread across the United States, K-12 schools transitioned to remote learning, most with very little time to prepare.
We got an email saying that all special events for the rest of March would be canceled, and then it was sports, and then it was just all academics and everything, and that all happened over like a 24-hour window. And then so we knew we would have Friday, March 13th would be our last day in class with the students to tell them, like, here is everything you need to know about digital learning.
In normal times, we would have said 3 years from now, we'd like every student to be online, and we would have planned for it, would have invested for it, and trained everybody. We flipped a switch and are trying to do it while students continue to learn.
Back in late December, as issues were unfolding in China, I remember placing coronavirus as a point of discussion on my cabinet agenda and began the preparation for the possibility of a different type of learning. And to tell you the truth, the very first day was actually pretty spectacular.
Schools had contingency plans in place for temporary disruptions due to events like fires, hurricanes, and snowstorms. A day or two of remote learning could keep the school year on track.
We have been practicing digital learning days for over the last year with the thought that we were going to be using them for like snow days or other inclement weather.
So we've had school closures before. We closed schools this school year because of fires. It has a beginning and an end, a finite period. We're now looking at a situation where the loss of connection with school for students is a loss of friendship and stability. It's a loss of a safety net. It's a loss of learning while their families' lives have been turned upside down in their own, while our teachers and all those who work in schools' lives have been turned upside down.
Ensuring students have access to internet and computers is the biggest challenge for schools. According to a Pew Research Center analysis in 2018, about 15% of households in the United States with school-aged children lack high-speed internet connection in their home.
We serve a high-needs set of communities. More than 80% of our students live in poverty. We would estimate probably a quarter of our students lacked access at home, either lacking a device or lacking an internet connection.
Our county, since we've gone fully online, has done a lot of loaning out computers to students who didn't have computers. And that's another thing that we're privileged to have those laptops in the school system to be able to give out to kids.
There are some communities that we have had some degree of difficulty connecting with. Those are obviously immigrant communities, the poorest communities in Miami-Dade, where despite our best efforts, we still have not been able to put a device in the hand of a child.
And even if a student has access to the needed technology, a school day is much different for a first grader compared to a high school senior.
We are a pre-K through grade 14 school system. Our strategies are different for each age group. They are different and distinct for each grade level.
There's going to be differences by grade, differences by the student's journey. More possible for students in higher grades, more challenging for students in lower grades. When we are back in schools, we're going to have to double down on what we do for our youngest learners. There's no substitute for learning to read in a classroom, for becoming fluent in math in a classroom.
Teachers and administrators work tirelessly to ensure all students are keeping up with their classes, but extending school into the summer could be a necessity.
I think with really good focus and effort, it's certainly possible that most, if not the vast majority of children will likely do fine in completing this year.
We are ready to provide summer learning opportunities to address the possibility of academic regression, particularly for the most fragile student communities. We are ready also to assist students who are college going.
Summer school is not unprecedented. This would just be a different version of it where it's less of a penalty and more of an extension because they need more support than they're able to get digitally.
SAT exams have been canceled since March. College Board hopes to resume tests in August. Advanced placement exams will take place in a new online format that takes into considerations the disruptions caused by COVID-19. And for high school seniors across the United States, graduation looks much different now.
As a school system of our magnitude, where our graduating class is as large as 24,000 to 25,000 students annually, we are absolutely committed to ensuring that every single senior who is on track to graduate will actually continue to be on track to graduate.
It's all hands on deck to make sure the needs of every student is met. Most acute, we see the situation of our seniors for whom this is meant to be the culmination, which will happen differently, but we want to make sure it's a successful culmination for as many of our students as possible.
So academically, our seniors aren't facing any specific challenges, but emotionally, I'm sure they are. It's rough to have worked this hard to get this far and then know that you probably aren't going to get to walk across the stage at the end of the year.
While proms have moved to Zoom, nothing replaces the real thing.
Prom being canceled and all those big milestone moments for them at the end of senior year. I know that that's taking a toll of them. It hurts me. I'm getting choked up just talking about it. It sucks. We want to see them achieve everything that they wanted to.
Colleges and universities are adapting to ease the disruption caused by COVID-19.
So we have made classes available to be taught on a satisfactory, unsatisfactory basis, like a pass-fail basis. Some of our classes are remaining as letter grades, however. We didn't do it across the board because sometimes students really need a grade if they're pre-law or pre-med, or, there are times when an SU really doesn't serve them particularly well.
In a statement to CNBC, the University of Washington noted students were given the ability to opt for a satisfactory, non-satisfactory grade instead of a numeric grade.
Some of the very advanced work is unable to be done. Those would be the most complex kind of laboratory courses, and those students likely will take an I, an incomplete. They will have time then to finish that course, building on all the work that they've already done, and complete the things that they haven't been able to finish in the summer or fall. We will, however, put on the transcript for every student who's been enrolled at FSU this semester that it was impacted by the pandemic, and so everyone will have that on their record from now on moving forward.
For college seniors, just months ago, they were looking at a strong job market. Now they are looking at a market reminiscent of the 2008 financial crisis.
So when you're thinking specifically about college seniors, this is really an unprecedented time. They were thinking that they were going to graduate in one of the best hiring markets that we've ever seen here in the US. And because of the coronavirus, instead, they're entering into a market that is very uncertain. We're seeing hundreds of members on LinkedIn sharing stories of job offers getting rescinded. And they don't really have a good sense of how they're supposed to find opportunities when we are all social distancing and working from home, taking classes from home.
We are really trying to help our graduating seniors both finish the coursework that they need to be able to graduate in a timely manner and also to be able to do the things that they have prepared to do, whether that's go on to graduate school or for many of them, try to find a good job and begin their careers.
This is a completely unique situation to what happened in 2008. And the bright spot for graduates is that means that they should expect, even though it's really uncertain right now, they should expect that once we get through this pandemic, the jobs will come back as well.
Recruiting and job fairs have gone virtual. The University of Washington told CNBC the school will host a virtual job and internship fair mid-May. Additionally, the school is hosting events to help students prepare for the virtual job search.
So this is really where the unprecedented nature of the coronavirus comes into play. College students were on campus at the beginning of March, and then abruptly they weren't. And so that means that all the activity in terms of job searching went home almost overnight. This is unlike any recession or slowdown that we've seen in the past because there was really no time to prepare. But given that this is so uncertain, we're hearing from a lot of career experts that everyone's figuring this out in real time. The students, the college officials, as well as those who are hiring.
Remember, they're digital natives. They know how to present themselves virtually. They know how to show what their job skills are and build a portfolio that is effective, whether it's presented face-to-face or presented virtually.
While certain job prospects may be lost, flexibility is key during this period of uncertainty.
If students find that they are not finding the kinds of careers that they want right away after graduation, we have lots of special certificates and graduate programs that they could choose to do in the next year or even in the next 6 months.
We are hearing from career counselors on LinkedIn that this really is a time for graduates to be flexible about what industries they are going into. In March, we saw an uptick of 35% job postings in healthcare. It's not just those on the front lines that the healthcare industry is hiring. We're talking software jobs, we're talking positions in administration. So perhaps you weren't thinking that healthcare was the right bet for you, but that's who's hiring right now. So as a graduate, it's really important to be thinking flexibly about what industry you're going to enter into, knowing that once the pandemic is over, you'll be able to pivot.
As graduation comes and goes, schools begin to look towards returning in the fall and what that would actually look like.
I do think that if this pandemic follows the course of other pandemics, that things could start to look better in the summer, especially if we keep doing a lot of the social distancing we're doing right now, which will leave a lot of schools looking and thinking about starting up again in the fall, and they might. The problem is this could come roaring back. And unless we're really prepared for what's to come in the fall, then that opening of schools could either be short-lived or problematic.
It won't be perfect, but it'll get better if we're patient and if we stay together and recognize aiming high is the right approach. We didn't give up. We didn't say the school year's over. We've not said that. We've not said we can't do online because it's too hard. We took the opposite tact, which was we're going to try our best. We have to. And if we're patient, work together on it, we're going to get there. It's going to be better for students in the long run.